Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the review for these guys right here, the Tapo C210 Wi-Fi security cameras. I had some time to test them. You've seen the unboxing, and if you haven't seen the unboxing, you need to go check it out because these cameras, they didn't disappoint. All right, we'll talk about that in a minute. I do have to give you a disclaimer that these cameras, the Tapo cameras, were not given to us by Tapo. This video is not sponsored by Tapo. We have purchased these cameras with our own funds. Therefore, the review in itself is of our own thoughts. So none of this is any outside, influence or any of that nature. We always want to watch out for our viewers, for our supporters, and for you. We always want to make sure that you have the information you need to make a wise decision on how to spend your hard-earned money on the tech that you know is going to work for what you need it for. So in a minute, I'm going to give you a hack that you can use for these cameras. We have three pillars that we're going to base this review on. Three pillars, one being the first is stress-free setup and daily ease of use for these cameras. Second, we're going to talk about real-world performance and security features. And lastly, we're going to get into the privacy, the storage, and the long-term value of these cameras. Let's start off with number one, the stress-free setup and the daily ease of use. If you recall from the opening, the box opening, you'll see that there was a base, and then there was also a template that you would utilize to screw into wherever you're going to mount these cameras. So these cameras can be mounted pretty much anywhere. They can be mounted on a flat surface. You can have them facing somewhere in a room on a flat surface. If you don't want to screw the base mount into that surface, which I completely understand if it's a nice table or something of that nature, maybe you want to stick some double-sided tape on there to keep it steady, and then you can just place the camera into the base. Also, with the screw template, you're able to put it on a wall, or like I did, I hung it upside down, which is actually funny. Cool thing about it is it worked. We'll get into that in a second. The one thing too that I also would like to say is for the app. So I downloaded the Tapo app on the Apple App Store because I'm using an Apple ecosystem. And I'm going to tell you, from my years of using tech, this was one of the easiest setups I've ever done. Oh my goodness. I don't know much about Tapo. I didn't look into them, for reviews or anything because I didn't want to have a biased opinion in this. So when I went and set up I had to pair the camera to the app, it was seamless. It guided me through it. My Wi-Fi connection, I was really in a good space for that, and it worked seamlessly. So I was very impressed with that. The app is a 10 out of 10, and we'll get more into the app in a second because there's many features that app has that blew me away. So I'm very impressed. I promised you a hack that I tried it. I had an idea of how I wanted it to work, and I tried it, and it blew my mind. It worked. I took the camera and I mounted it upside down. I mounted it upside down in a window pointing outside of my home. And I didn't know if it was going to work because, again, this is an indoor camera, and I'm going through a pane of glass to see if it would actually capture the front part of my home. And it worked. I mounted it upside down. When the image that came out of it, of course, was upside down. If you go into the app, there is a way to flip the image. So if the camera is mounted in that position, you'll be able to see it normally. Now, the app, very intuitive, very easy to navigate. So I was impressed again with that. Now for number two, real-world performance and security features. So the video specs on these cameras are 3 megapixels with 1296p resolution. So 360-degree pan with a 114-degree tilt. These cameras also have 40 feet of night vision. And there's another trick I'm going to give you for that in a second from the way I mounted it, which some of you may want to try this. The motion tracking accuracy and setting custom activity zones on this was amazing. I'm singing its praises because I was blown away by what it could do, and putting it through its paces. You can take a certain area of where the camera is facing and create a zone. The camera will only monitor that zone. Now, if you have them in your home in a room that you don't want to have the camera to see due to privacy or just whatever, you can set the camera up. You can set these zones up within the app, and the camera will only monitor that area and not go to the other area, because they do have the ability to pan and tilt. But the other thing too, the motion tracking was spot on. So on the app itself, you have a couple of alerts that you'll see. One will be motion detected, and it shows the picture of a running person. So I have this camera set up facing the front of my house. Now if a car drives by, it just says motion detected. It captures that video and records it. And then you can go back and review and see that, but you already know there's an alert on your phone, on your device, whatever, that you've set this up on, saying motion detected. The other thing that was really accurate was person detected. So it does the same thing, but shows a silhouette of a person. So you can go back and review, and it shows you a person. So I've actually been able to see some people, you know, whether they're walking the street near my property or whatever the case may be. With that, I was blown away. But the other thing too, which is really neat with the app and with setting these up, you have two-way audio. So if you do choose to use these cameras indoors and maybe monitor if you have grandchildren coming over, your children, or, you know, toddlers or babies, you can speak through the app, and it goes through the camera, and then you can hear the response. So you can carry on a conversation. You know, I believe this also is with other, like, you know, other companies that have the doorbell cameras. You can speak to people who are at your door, package delivery, whomever. You can do the same thing with these cameras, and it worked flawlessly. So for the reliability test, the connection stability is going to depend on your internet connection. I will say this, because this camera does take a 512 gigabyte SD card to record on board, where it doesn't rely on an internet connection, is wonderful. I've been using it through my internet. Here we're using fiber, so it is pretty fast, and I've had great connection. But I will say this, depending on areas of your home, if you're going to use this camera somewhere, because I found this when I was doing my setup, that there may be dead spots in your home. Okay, if there is a dead spot in your home, you may have to get a Wi-Fi extender if you don't already have one, or if you have one, take it from whatever room that you kind of can, because I actually had to do it. You kind of can make the sacrifice and get another extender to replace it later, to go ahead and extend the Wi-Fi in this area, because this was kind of a corner of the home. Wi-Fi was kind of a little sketchy there, so that worked out very well. So the connection, the reliability, every time I go to look at the app, it's there. Every time I want to see a recording, it pops up quickly. So I'm extremely impressed with how this camera has performed. The last pillar we're going to go over is the privacy, storage, and long-term value of these cameras. As I said earlier, the camera does takes up to a 512 gigabyte micro SD card. That's half a terabyte. It's a lot of storage. As in terms of how long that would, you know, how much video that will hold, that's going to depend on the quality of the video you're recording in. If you're recording in 2K, if you're recording in 1080 or 720, that's going to eat up your storage, of course. And it's also going to depend on the amount of activity that it records. Could a single card last months? Absolutely, I believe that. But the other option you do have outside of the card is the TapoCare cloud. So they do offer a cloud subscription service. For each region, I'm sure it's different, so I don't want to give any pricing compared to what I had seen. It was very affordable. They charge you per camera, but it's unlimited recording. That's another peace of mind for you. If you do get a card, so you have a card in there in case something happens to where you lose your internet, so it still records what's going on, but you also have unlimited recording in the cloud that you can go back and review. I do not know how long they hold recording, so maybe it's 30 days and it erases or resets. I am not sure, but you'll have to look into that. The data encryption details and how to enable the two-factor authentication is great. What that means is that if you want to access your account, you can set up a way for it to also verify you on another device through another email or whatnot. So this really secures your account and also gives you peace of mind as well. The other thing too that I do want to discuss is power outage and internet outage behavior. If you get a microSD card and you put that into the camera, that should still record if you have an internet outage. Now, power outage, I'm going to give you a little tip that I think that will help. I'm going to try it and I will let you know my findings on this. Get a battery backups plug. If you're not familiar with what a battery backups is, you can find these at your electronic stores or on some of the major online retailers. It has a battery built into it. It's almost like a strip, but there's a battery built in that will keep your electronics running for a few minutes if there is a power outage. The voltage drain on these cameras is so low that you can get a decent sized battery backup and it will probably last for a whole day, 12 to 24 hours or something like that without power. The other hack that I would try is possibly, if you're really worried about home security and having your cameras going and your home security system running and it utilizes the internet in your home, possibly a battery backups for your modem as well. So if you are on fiber, if there's a major power outage, you will still have internet as long as you have power going to the modem. But for other means, I'm not completely sure. You have to contact your cable provider or your internet service provider to find out what they suggest if you want to keep that going in a quick outage situation or whatever the case may be. As I told you earlier in the video, I have a hack that I did when mounting my camera, and it involves mounting the camera indoors but facing outdoors, so going out through the window. What was neat and what I really appreciated about the quality of these cameras is that even though the camera's going through a window, there's really not much glare, especially if there's plenty of light outside. There's really no glare off of the glass to the camera. The only thing, and this is a trick, because these cameras do have night vision, so at night when it gets dark, the cameras do light up with the night vision and it lights up the area. Well, bad news, if you're aiming at a glass, all it does is create a reflection. The camera can't see anything. So what you have to do is go into the app and turn off the night vision feature. You will also need to turn off the status indicator light on the app as well. Turn off all of those lights. The camera at night still sees very good with these things turned off, so I was very impressed and I'm blown away. Tapo, you did a wonderful job on these cameras. Kudos to you. The other thing too, which blew me away, is you don't have to have a subscription to have these cameras work. Having that subscription, which is very affordable for unlimited recording, it's a no-brainer. So what are the big takeaways from the Tapo C210 cameras? I will say this: affordability, reliability, ease of use for the app, ease of setup, and also, if you do opt for this subscription with unlimited recording, it's very affordable. If you value your home security, if you value your just being able to monitor people within the home, if you have children, if you have adults that need care, any of that, and also having the two-way recording where you can hear the noise, you can hear what they're saying, and they can speak back to you through the camera, just to me, it's priceless. Kudos to Tapo. I'm just blown away. Their engineers are forward-thinking, really have the consumer and people in mind, and especially having the opportunity to do this review, I thought about this and it really does work for our audience. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, but also if you have any experience with these cameras, we'd love to hear about it. What are you doing for security for your home? What are you doing for monitoring within your home? We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and we hope you have a wonderful day.